The Public Health National Center for Innovations, or PHNCI, is a division of the Public Health Accreditation Board, and we were founded in November 2015 to really focus on innovation in governmental health departments and advancing toward a culture of health in the 21st century. We're working primarily with governmental health departments at the state and local level, and encouraging them to, of course, work with their cross-sector partners to really push the envelope of what's next in public health. We're learning from our grantees what's really happening on the ground, what's feasible in governmental public health given the kind of complex and dynamic nature that we're working in. How does it really work to work with cross-sector partners in new lines of business and new ways of approaching wicked problems and complex problems in public health? We wanted to do this video to highlight 3 of our 9 grantees to inspire others to pick up this work in innovation in public health. Their stories, I think, will be very demonstrative of what it means to push the envelope in public health and truly be innovative as a way to improve health equity and improve the health of their communities. We want to hear from you. We hope you enjoy the video and that you reach out to us to let us know what we can do to support your innovations in your health departments.
Garrett County is the westernmost county in Maryland. It's rural in nature, has about 29,000 people. In our county, the planning process has traditionally been rather closed. It's bureaucratic in nature. It's very difficult for people that are working or have small children at home to be part of something like that. Through our community needs assessment, it was clear that people didn't understand what programs were happening. We had a real issue with communication from agency standpoint and just in general. So the goal before we had to start working on our community improvement plan was to make sure we heard from everyone.
When we began this process, what we wanted to achieve was really to give everyone a voice. We wanted to engage all of our population and confirm the findings that we had already found through our health assessment process. This began with just utilizing existing open source technologies, created a community forum online, and allowed anyone from our population to go on, register for an account, and start talking about the issues that mattered most to them and the things that they were most passionate about. Through this process, we were able to collect a ton of data, really interesting qualitative and quantitative points.
As you can see, we've got our raw data module, and as you work through, we have data for each month, so you can see exactly how we're doing. A data-informed approach to any type of public health initiative is a central component, and the planning tool allows us to have our data at our fingertips. It allows us to be responsive because we have hyperlocal data. We don't have to wait years for vital stats to come out or census data. We have something that we're working toward in our local community.
There were several different things on the market that were available for public health, for performance management or for quality improvement, but they were all totally out of range for our community. As a small rural community, we can't pay $15,000 to $30,000 a year just to support software infrastructure. And that's why open source is so critical for this project and for public health as a whole. This means that any community, regardless of resources, can customize the planning tool and deploy it within minutes. It's simple, it's easy, and it's powered by the same platform that's already working for many different public health institutions.
We in the public health field now have a mounting body of evidence that shows that upwards of 80% of our health is determined by factors outside of traditional health care. So we felt like it was really important to start kind of building bridges and reaching out to those people outside of the health sector to kind of explain why if they're successful, then we're successful. Getting the grant from PHNCI has been incredibly helpful because it's allowed us to kind of test the waters. It's allowed us the opportunity to test out new data projects as well as statewide convenings like the Equity Forum. It's basically helped us create physical spaces, but also kind of intangible spaces and opportunities for building partnerships.
We live and work in an incredible state. Equity is the business of all of us. None of us can do this work on our own, and it's probably a good idea for all of us to get together, to communicate, learn about, and partner with one another.
It's extremely important, a collaboration that we're creating, because what it's going to result in is expertise that we don't have internally. So not only are we getting their expertise in our efforts, I'm able to provide my transportation expertise in the area of the statewide health assessment. So yeah, it's definitely been a great two-way street.
Working with CDPHE in the Office of Health Equity, it's been a really fantastic experience. We were involved with working on the health equity profile and trying to get that product together in a way that reflects the stories of communities and reflects the stories of Colorado, combining data set and story. We thought it was just a really amazing place to engage Asian American folks in helping tell our own stories in that space.
With the equity profile, which is funded through the PHNCI grant as well, that funding was really used so that we could, one, collect the data, and so we were able to hire a social epidemiologist with the funding. And we wanted to tell the story of how inequities are affecting the day-to-day lives of Coloradans. And we also wanted people to start looking at lived experience and at stories as data. And so that was a big part of my role, is bringing those voices in and asking everyday Coloradans how these inequities are impacting them, and really transforming those stories within the profile and including those numbers so that folks can kind of see, oh yeah, these stories are really valuable and they are data and they can really help us advance equity in our state.
The mission of the Behavioral Health Collaborative is really to improve access and quality of behavioral health services for all DuPage County residents. In 2017, we refocused our efforts to be able to look at improving the access to care for those involved with the criminal justice system.
Mental health is a priority for our agency, it's a priority for law enforcement. It's something that we do take very seriously. We are always looking at ways to evolve how we deal with people in our community that are suffering with mental illness.
Mental health is so important because it's very common. What we're seeing is that 911 is being used often for mental health calls, not only at the sheriff's office, but in all of our other municipalities. So then the question became, what is the need and what can we do for these callers that are using 911 just because they're not sure what else to do? And it's really not a law enforcement issue, it's a mental health issue. So hopefully once that crisis is averted and stabilized, the goal with the post-crisis response team is to get out there, to engage that individual, to be able to offer services right now and linkage right now so that hopefully in the future they don't have to use that crisis level of care, whether that's 911 or any additional crisis services.
Thank you for all your help, and I appreciate you following up with your program.
Well, how's Erica doing?
Not good. She gets so agitated. I had to move her out of her apartment. She was not able to pay the rent, take care of herself anymore. I didn't realize how much the sheriff's department is doing. It's great that the officers go out and they recognize people who have mental problems, and that helps calm down the situation, you know.
Must be very hard for you to...
Yeah, somebody said, Ron, you got to go see a psychiatrist yourself.
Right, and well, and NAMI has a lot of stuff for parents, some support for her, and then they encourage her also then to get involved in some other programs within NAMI itself. I can't even begin to tell you what a blessing for me this has been, to see those changes in people. We want them to remember that we're here to help them. And that's the goal of this, that we're just all here working together to get them to the point where they can feel better about themselves and be productive. And you know, when people are appreciated and people are understood, it makes a huge change for everyone.